Joining me now is my Thursday regular, Barnaby Joyce, the Nationals frontbencher and former Deputy Prime Minister. Barnaby Joyce, good to see you. Leaving aside all I've said, it remains the fact that the coalition has voted against a tax cut. Does that embarrass you?
No, because I think we have to call it for exactly what it is. This is the political art of the most cunning and shrewd thespian to offer you $5 a week, or what's that, 80 cents a day or thereabouts, 70, 80 cents a day, and to say, now I have proven your impurity and my divinity because of what you just did to me. You know, call it for what it is. It's ridiculous. It's a trinket. And what we have to say to the Australian people is, in their quest for this sort of intermittent nirvana, intermittent power, where you're going to be paying multiples of that a day, because they have to worship the great god Gaia at Paris and say all the appropriate things to achieve their 20, 30, 82% intermittent target. I mean, that's what's going to hurt you. That's what's going to hurt you. And yeah, I think that's really
but Barnaby, I'm interrupting you.
Your cost of living problems.
I'm interrupting you because you could go on for another couple of minutes arguing this point. But the thing is, you could have answered it in 1 second if you said, well, our tax cuts are bigger. This is the issue. But they're not, right? And that's the problem you're going to have in selling it. There's another problem here. The government's tax cut is now law. Parliament voted for it yesterday. The Shadow Treasurer today said, well, a coalition government, if elected, is going to repeal that tax cut to offer this petrol excise instead. Barnaby, can you tell me in what planet will any Parliament, any Senate, vote to repeal a tax cut? That's fantasy, isn't it?
I believe that the focus of all treasurers, finance ministers will always be on those who are the most vulnerable and how we manage to keep dignity in their lives by keeping cash in their wallet. And with a cut in excise, it allows them, because you've got to remember, poor people live the furthest away from the services. That's why the houses are cheaper or the rents are cheaper. And even those rents and those houses they can't afford. And the cars they drive are not the better cars. So to offer a reprieve in excise for a period is a lot more efficacious in looking after people who are doing it tough than offering them whatever it is,
certainly.
75 cents, 80 cents a day.
And it'll come a year earlier than the Labor's miserly tax cut. I've got all that. I'm just saying there's no Senate that's ever going to say, no, we're going to repeal a tax cut, is there?
Well, I'm not here to talk. I've been a senator, 8 years, 7 months and a day, and vague in various things they can be. But I've seen some marvellous things go through the Senate, and I've seen some rather brilliant ideas never progress. So I'll leave the peculiarities and the imbroglios, which is our nation's Senate, to those wonderful senators and to the people who pop up from Tasmania with a couple of thousand votes and somehow end up having a management job in our nation. But what I do know is that the overall narrative has got to be one of, are you really, truly reaching out to those who are doing it tough in a cost of living crisis, the poorest, those who are struggling, and offering them something meaningful? Look at your life. What do you think has happened in the last 3 years? Do you honestly believe that where we have arrived is a better place than where you were 3 years ago?
See, the other issue is the debt, right, that this government has racked up. You think, how could they treat public finances with such contempt? The spending. And I thought, well, here's an example of this mindset in this Canberra bubble under this government. We had someone from one of the government departments front up to a Senate committee yesterday and say, hello, we have been, admitting to this, we have spent $35,000, Barnaby, to design a prototype desk that you can sit at and also work at standing up, a desk that's now actually in storage, when in fact you or I can buy one on the internet. In fact, my wife has bought one on the internet for $562, not $35,000, just $562, And it's only now dawning on that government department this prototype desk might be a waste of our money. Here she is.
We will need to look through our capital works program about issues like this to think about if that cost is something that's sustainable and does it provide something that members and senators want and need.
Right there, Barnaby. Proof that the most expensive way to get anything done and still have it not work or be used is to ask the government, isn't it?
Isn't it amazing how you can always be a big man at the sale yards with another man's checkbook, as they say. It's easy to be a big person. Let's call a man a neuter gender term, but it's easy to be big when you're using someone else's money. You know, you can buy all sorts of marvellous presents with someone else's credit card. And if you said to that individual who you just had then, how about we take it out of your wage, $35,000 for a glorified school desk? I wonder if she would have said, no, you're not taking $35,000 off me for a glorified school desk. But they did it with your money because they believe they can, and that's the same methodology, the same IQ that runs through the whole show, right up to your wind towers and your solar panels, and that's why you got to watch out. That's why you got to be so concerned. I was sacked as Shadow Finance Minister back in 2010 in the glory days of my first admission to the Shadow Cabinet because I had the temerity to say that the debt, when it passed $100 billion, was on a bad trajectory and was going to get us into all sorts of strife. It might even go past $500 billion. And I had my bottom booted out, bang. And Mr. Rudd, the Secretary of the Treasury and the RBA, he's outrageous. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's just gone through $1 trillion, right? And it's heading north at a rate of knots.
Barnaby Joyce, good to talk to you and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you very much.